Welcome back, my algebra friends. All right, we are looking today, although I've lost my pen. Interesting. Found it. Okay, sorry. Looking today at mean, median, mode, range. These are words I'm pretty sure you've heard before, so hopefully this will be just kind of a review. Not sure where, like in which class you would have learned it. But at some point in your life, I'm sure you've at least heard of mean, if nothing else. So these are what are called measures of central tendency. There's others that we are not going to discuss today. There's a standard deviation and that sort of thing, but we don't get kind of that deep into data and statistics in this particular course. If you take AP Stats, then you look at standard deviation. But we just look at like your four basic measures of kind of data interpretation. So we have the mean, the median, the mode, the range. One of these puts values in order and chooses a middle value. One of these takes the sum of all the values and divides it by the number of values that you have. One of these subtracts the least value from the greatest value, and the other one chooses the value or values that occurred the most. And if we were in class, they'd be like, okay, turn to your partner and see if you can match these definitions properly. But we're not in class, so we're just going to do it together. So the mean, you've probably heard this. It has another name, an alias, if you will. It's also the average. So I'm sure you know what an average is. And that is where you take all of the data points you have, you add them up, and you divide by however many you have. So that goes with this one. The median is when you write your values in order from least to greatest, and you choose the middle value. Sometimes it gets a little confusing because sometimes there's not a middle value, because if you have an even number of values, obviously you don't have a middle. And in that case, well, we'll talk about what happens then. The mode is the one that occurs the most. And the reason I remember that is mode and most. That's a good way to do it. And the range is like the spread, if you will, of your data set. So you take the least value and subtract it from the greatest value. All right, so we're going to find the mean, median, mode, and range of this particular data set. The first thing I always suggest that you do in any data set is write them in order, because you know you're going to be asked for the median probably. And if you can't just take the middle number from what's listed like this, because these are not in numerical order. So you have to write them in order first in order to get the median. So I'm going to start. My lowest number I have here is 12. As soon as I write a number, I cancel it out, okay, just so I know I've already done it. The other thing you're going to want to do is to make sure that if a number appears more than once, write it more than once. So 12, 12, then 14, then 17, then 18, and also 18. And just check, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points in my original data set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good, I have all of them. Okay, so the mean is what I'm going to do first. So I'm going to add all of these up. So 12 plus, sorry, I don't know why you can't really see that, because there should not really be a glare on this right now, because I don't have any lights on my calculator, but I'm sure you know how to add things. So 12 plus 12 plus 14 plus 17 plus 18 plus 18. And that is 91. So you're going to take that total, write 91, divide it by the number of data points you have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 91 divided by 6. Of course, we already know that is not going to work out evenly. I get 15.16 repeating. probably what I'm going to do is round to the nearest tenth. So that 15 point, like this 1 right here. So that 6 would make that go to a 2. So 15.2-ish is my mean. All right, my median is, again, remember that's the middle number. So in this data set, what you want to do is find the middle, and the middle is where you have the same amount of numbers on either side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, problem is I have an even number. So like if I were to divide this evenly, I have 3 on that side and 3 on this side, but I don't have a middle number. And so what you have to do is you have to find what's exactly between these two numbers on either side. So what's exactly between 14 and 17? Well, the way you do that is you actually find the average of those two. So 14 plus 17 divided by 2. So that's 31 divided by 2, which is 15.5. And if you can just do that in your head, you're more than welcome to. Because if you're looking at this and you're going, okay, I have 14 to 17, how would I get to the middle of that? Well, I have a 15 here and a 16 here. I'm still not in the middle. Well, 15.5 is in the middle of those. So you can do it that way if you want to as well, or you can just take the average. And so you would take the two numbers on either side, add those together, and divide by 2. All right, the mode, remember, is the most. So which value or values appear the most? Well, I have 12 twice, and I have 18 twice. So I have 2 modes here. One is 12, one is 18. If all of these data points appear the same amount of times, or they all appear once, then there's no mode. So you have to have 1 or 2 or 3 or however many numbers that appear more than the others in order to have a mode. All right, the range is, remember, that spread of my data. So I take the largest number, which is 18, subtract the smallest number, which is 12. So the range of my data is 6 data points. All right, so we're just going to do this a few times with a few different data sets. So if we turn this over to the back, and let me see if I can zoom a little bit. All right, so problem 1. In each of these, find the mean, median, the mode, and the range. Problem number 1. Number of hours that students spent on a research project. 2, 4, 10, 7, 5. Okay, remember the first thing I'm going to do is write these in order. So 2 is my lowest number, then 4, then 5, then 7, and 10. Okay, I had 5 in my original. I have 5 in here. They're all in order. We're all good. So the mean, I add up. 2 plus 4 plus 5 plus 7 plus 10. That gives me 28. I have 5 data points. So divide by 5. If I do that, I get 5.6. So that's my mean. You should assume most of the time that the mean is going to be a decimal, and that's fine. All right, the median, remember, is the middle. So the mean was the average. Median's the middle. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 2 on that side. I have 2 on that side. So my middle number is 5. Remember, you have to have even numbers on the left side and the right side. If you have an odd number of data points, then you'll have a number that is just the mode. If you have an even number, then you have to do what we did on the other side, which is find what's between them. The mode is the most. And I have 2, a 4, a 5, a 7, and a 10, and none of those appear more than once. So in this instance, I have no mode. And then my range, I go from 2 to 10. So I take 10 minus 2, and I get 8. So that is my range. And that's the spread of data. All right, this next one is a little crazy because we have 15 data points here. These are ones, gosh, be so careful to make sure you have all of them when you put these in order. All right, so first look at the data set and see what's the lowest. So I see a 46 here. I'm going to see if there's anything lower than that. And there is not. So I'm going to write 46 and cross it out. And then I go through and I see a 57. And there's nothing lower than that, so I put 57. Now I'm going to look for things in the 60s. Let's see, I have a 61 and a 62. I oftentimes miss things when I go through, and it's super frustrating because you've like written the entire thing, and then you end up having to go through and add numbers in, and it's a huge bummer. All right, so I'm gonna try not to do that this time. All right, those are all my 60s, right? So if I go to 70s, let's see, I have a 75 here, 78, and a 78, and another 78. Okay, so I have 75, 78. Make sure you get all the 78s. There's several of them. 78 here, and yet another 78 here. Okay, got all the 70s now. Do I have any 80s? I do. I have an 81. And then I have, in my 90s, I have 90, 92, 90 again, 98, 97. Okay, so 90, and my second 90, and then 92. And then the only three I have left are 97, 98, 100. Okay, and now, like, it looks like I have all the ones because they're all crossed out, but let's just see. So I should have 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Fantastic. We did it right. Yay for us. There's my smiley face. Okay, so the mean, add all these up. And when you have this many numbers, you might want to add it a couple of times just to make sure that you have the correct thing. And in fact, when I did it before I taped this lesson, I did add it 3 times just to make sure. And I got every single time 1,183. That's not my mean, that's my total. And then I divided by the number of data points I have, which is 15. So 1,183 divided by 15 gave me about 78.9. So that's my mean. My median. All right, so I have 15 data points. So what I should have, because it's an odd number, I should have 7 on each side. So give me 14, then I'll have a middle 15th, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then that should be there. And count from the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 7 on that side, 7 on that side, and I do have a middle number, and that is 78. My mode, remember, is the one that appears the most. Well, let's see, I have a couple that appeared more than once. I have 90s, which appeared twice. I had 78s, which appeared 3 times. So my mode, 78 appears the most. So that is my mode. My range here, my top number is 100. My bottom number is 46. So 100 minus 46 gives me 54. All right, the last 2 are smaller data sets, which is nice. So the weight in pounds of 6 members of the basketball team. Again, let's put these in order before we do anything else. I'll kind of do it down here because I have more room. My lowest, it would appear to be 150. I have another one of those. And then 156. And then another 156. And then 161. And 163. I had 6 data points in my original. I have 6 data points here, so I did it all good. My mean, I'm going to add all those up. When you add 150 plus 150 plus 156 plus 156 plus 161 plus 163, you get 936 divided by the amount of data points, which is 6. In this one, I actually do get a whole number, which is lovely. So my mean is 156. My median, again, I have 6 data points, so I'm not going to have like that middle number, right? So I have 1, 2, 3 on this side, and then 1, 2, 3 on this side. So my middle number would be like between these two. And so normally I would say take your average, right? So add these together, divide by 2, but they're the same number, so there's nothing between them. So my median is also going to be 156. My mode, so 150 appears twice, 156 appears twice. So those are both my modes. And when you have 2 modes or more than 1 mode, you really should write those in order. So like 150 comes first, 156 comes next. My range is 163 is my top, 150 is my bottom, so my range is 13. Hopefully you're finding this to be pretty easy, if not tedious anyway. All right, last one, number of baseball games that were rained out in the last 8 seasons. So again, write these in order. And 0, normally, like, we don't really write that, but when it's a data point, you have to, because it adds in like one more time. It means like I did play a baseball season, I just didn't rain out any of them, which clearly they weren't playing in Michigan. All right, so 0, 1, 2, and then another 2, 3, there's a 5, a 6, and a 7. All right, so when I add these all together, 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 is going to give me 26. And again, like the 0 added didn't do anything to it, but you have to count it as a data point. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 data points. So 26 divided by 8. If you divide by 7 and you forget about that 0, your mean's going to be off there. So that would be 3.25 for the mean. So the mean is, like, the average number of games got rained out is 3.25. Obviously, you can't have a quarter of a game rained out, but that's just the way that the math works on it. One thing I do want to point out, you have to make sure, like, if you're putting this all in your calculator, you have to divide or you have to add these together first. So if I just put like 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 divided by 8, I get 19.875. And that's like so very clearly wrong, because none of these even approach 19.875, right? Well, what did I do wrong? Well, the problem is, and I apologize again that you can't really see the calculator that well because of the glare, but the problem is that when I added these together, remember, your calculator follows order of operations. So what it did was it took 7 and divided it by 8, and then added all the rest of these numbers to it. So what you needed to have done is either put the top in parentheses, 3 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7, and your parentheses, then divide by 8, or get 0 plus 1, and again, you don't need the 0, but you do for the data point, 3 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7, hit enter, and then divide by 8. So one of those two second options, just don't do the first, because the first, just remember, takes that last number that you enter, which was 7 here, and then divides it by 8. And they add the whole rest of them. So you can really mess up your mean that way, so just be careful. All right, your median. So again, this is an even set. So I have 4 on this side, 4 on this side. So my median would be between 2 and 3. Well, what's exactly between 2 and 3? That would be 2.5. And you can just know that, right? Or again, 2 plus 3, not divide by 5, sorry, divide by 2. So that's 5 divided by 2, which is 2.5. Your mode here, let's see, 2 appears twice. None of the others appear more than once. Your mode is 2. Your range, your highest number is 7. Your lowest number is 0. 7 minus 0 is 7. And of course, you can like ignore this part of this as homework, right? Because we don't do our book. All right. You can tell this is like a super old thing that I created, because that was when I did use the book. All right. Your optional assignment tonight is this mean median mode, ABAC mean median mode, if you want to do that. And it is, a lot of these are not necessarily, you don't have to find, like, you don't have to do all of them for everything. Like number 1 just is find the mean. And then 2, 3, 4 are on this data set. Remember, on all of these, just to save yourself some time, rewrite in order, particularly if you're being asked to find the median. I suppose in number 1, you don't necessarily have to, because you don't need the middle. You don't need that median. But in this data set and this one, I would as well. And then in number 8, it says find the average weight. Remember, that's the mean. Ooh, I'm going to show you number 9. Number 9 is a little bit confusing. Excuse me. So it says you score 86, 80, 92, and 96 on 4 math tests. What did you score on the next test if your average of the 5 was 86? Okay, so I need 5 tests, but I only have data points for 4. So like test 1 is 86. Test 2 was 80. Test 3 was 92, right? And again, I don't need these in order. And then test 4 was 96. Well, test 5, if I don't know, typically, if I don't know something, what do I put there? I put X, right? So these are my 5 tests. And my average of the 5 would be 86. So my average of 5 tests, so test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4, test 5, added up divided by 5. That would be my average, and that has to equal 86. So now you got to remember, just pretty basic equation solving here. So the first thing, because these are all together up on the top, so you can't like divide any of this by 5 right away. You have to, in fact, multiply both sides of this by 5. So 86 times 5. That'll give me 430 on the right, and then that will go away. So I have 86 plus 80 plus 92 plus 96 plus X. And do I have to subtract all these? No, I would add all these together first because they're like terms. So 86 plus 80 plus 92 plus 96 is 354. So 354 plus X equals 430. And then, of course, the last thing you do is subtract 354 from both sides. So 430 minus 354 will give you X equals 76. So that's how you would do number 9. And then again, remember how to do these things. So 9 is 76. And then I assume on the back, on the back you have your letter bank, because of course there's a back to this, right? So you look for 76, which is H. So number 9 is H. And then, of course, anywhere you see a 9, you put an H. There seem to be a lot of them on here. I think I got them all. Anyway, if I remember to, I will try to post the answer for you on this one. All right, but there is a front and a back. And you can, if you want to do all of it, you can. If you just want to practice a couple too, that's fine. So remember, these are optional homework assignments. All right. So that is measures of central tendency. And that is the end of our lesson for today. And that is it.